the cleanliness and the security with the storefront improvement programs, as well as the safe cam that, that the city has, on our camera system. So I think when you look at a bid, you got to look at the bigger picture, for no better words, and the collaborative and leveraging into resources, where you had a CDC who used to at one time have a lot of resources. If they don't have a matching partner right now for their tax credits, I mean, they're struggling for money, and they're struggling to help keep our neighborhoods clean. And this provides an opportunity to do so with transparency, with community input, and, with the city all participating for the betterment of the small businesses to succeed, not to fail, but to succeed. So I'm glad we're here talking about this, and I'm glad, we're continuing the conversations about bids, moving forward in the future.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Squilla.
One last question. I know anytime we do something, there's always people are for and against it. What is the percentage on this particular bid that would be paid by the property owners? Is it a percentage of his assessment?
The percentage is, it's 0.2% of assessed value.
0.2%?
Right.
Okay. So an average home, say a property that was valued at $200,000, what would it be yearly payment?
A property that was valued at $200,000 would pay $400 per year.
$400 a year. Okay.
And this bid plan includes a minimum, so properties that are valued below, I forget what the exact cutoff is, but every property owner would pay a minimum of $365.
So $365 would
so
be
$1 a day.
Right.
Is the minimum.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other questions for Mr. Murphy? Seeing none, thank you. Maybe you could stay around just in case other questions come up, okay? Thank you very much. Here's where I'd like to proceed. There's a number of people who have asked to testify in support of the bid. Is there anyone here who wishes to testify in opposition? One? Okay. All right. Here's what I like to do. Let's call a couple. For all those people that are here in support that wish to testify, just in the interest of time, we have all your written testimony here. I would ask that you please try to abbreviate any statements, just maybe and not to all repeat the same thing, because we do have 5 other bills coming up and we have a hearing starting early this afternoon, okay? So I just ask your cooperation on that. And what we'll do is we'll call up a couple of the people off the list of the support, and sir, then we'll call you up, okay? All right, Ms. Marconi, why don't you call the first 3 names?
Emilio Magnucci, Thomas Russo Mando, and Dominic Crimi.
Okay. All right, I'm seeing 4 people come up and there's 3 names called, so what are we doing here?
Excuse me, members of the Rules Committee. My name is Thomas Gilbertson. I'm one of the formation advisors for this Business Improvement District effort. And I just wanted to let you know that I am here today, and if you have technical questions, like some of those that were just recently asked to the Commerce Department, I can answer those for you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I think you heard the questions Councilman Jones raised about some specifics, maybe if you can mix them in your testimony. But again, please, we have all your written testimony, so you don't have to just repeat that. Please identify yourself and proceed.
My name is Emilio Magnucci. I'm a business owner of the Bruno Brothers, the House of Cheese down in the Italian market, with 5 commercial properties, 5 curb stands, all within the proposed district. I'll start by explaining a little more detail, not a lot, how we got here today. Our efforts to improve the Italian market have been a long time coming. I've been involved as a member of the South Main Street Business Association for 25 years. During my involvement, I've been the president and secretary in addition to serving as a board member. My involvement with South Main Street Business Association dates back to a time when South Main Street, when the area was experiencing a very low point. Businesses were leaving, more and more curb stands had become vacant, and the core market lost its annual festival and community celebration. We didn't want that to continue that way. So we got together, rebooted the Berks Association, raised funds by knocking door to door, rejuvenated the annual festival, and began tackling larger issues on South 9th Street. The team effort has resulted in a successful, well-attended two-day festival, a year-round and full-time visitor center, additional customer parking, and a series of other small-scale improvements throughout the market, from business-sponsored trash cans to new curb stand awnings. These efforts have not just improved the market, but they built a greater sense of community as well. They brought a sense of pride to the neighborhood. This is how we got here today. Before the Rules Committee to support the formation of the South 9th Street Area Business District. As a member of South 9th Street and Washington Avenue Business Improvement District Steering Committee, I participated in the planning and outreach efforts that went into the formation of this proposal. I can say with complete confidence that our steering committee made every effort to be inclusive, principled, and careful throughout the decision-making and outreach efforts that took place. Today, I am joined with the members of the Business Improvement District Steering Committee from South 9th Street Business Association Board of Directors and other concerned businesses and commercial property owners throughout South 9th Street. In a few moments, you'll hear testimony from a bunch of the following here. Dominic Crimmy, business and property owner, president of the Business Association. Greg Pastor, owner of single mixed-use property on South 9th Street. Ron Bowman, a business owner in the district south of Washington Avenue. Greg Damas, property investor, owner of 2 mixed-use properties. Dave Brown, a business owner for a long time in the Italian market. Lisa Budnick, business and property owner. Richard Lee, steering committee member, local realtor, will speak to the depths of our outreach. And Pam Zenzela, who was really instrumental helping on the steering committee. She's past president of the Passyunk Square Civic Association and the billing manager for the East Passyunk Avenue bid. Then, of course, we have Thomas Russell-Munder, who will provide the testimony on behalf of Michelle Gambino, who is our business manager of the South 9th Street Business Association. She's currently out of the country and respectfully unable to join us today. They all have unique testimony for this committee. Additionally, you received letters of support from Lee Esposito of Attilio Esposito Incorporated, who represents the largest investment interest, 17 properties within South 9th Street Area Business District. And from Michelle Goldman, an active steering committee member representing Midwood Development Investments, Inc., and the owner of the property site on 9th Street and Washington Avenue. For many business owners on South 9th Street, they spend their days working hard in order to carry on their birthright investments, operations, and cultural practices. I am one such business owner. My business, the Bruner Brothers, has been operational for over 75 years. Over this time, my brother Bill, my cousin Bill, and I worked tirelessly to build our cheese shops into a chain of successful specialty stores throughout Philadelphia region. That is what's great about South 9th Street. This is what motivates us. To me, our district has always been a place where hardworking men and women can apply their trade and through continued dedication become very, very successful. When you walk around South 9th Street, you see this happen every day. This is why our district has welcomed immigrants from countries around the world, including Italy, China, Lebanon, Vietnam, Mexico, and many others. The true value of South 9th Street area is in its ability to provide opportunity for both new and long-time Americans alike. For many years, the Business Association has considered exploring a business improvement district, but it did not have access to funds to undertake the years of planning necessary. Instead, we focused our efforts as a business association on the development of numerous activities that have strengthened the district's economy and built great sense of community. In 2006, we rejuvenated our annual 2-day Italian Market Festival. Then in 2011, we reorganized visitor parking, and in 2012, we opened a year-round visitor center to provide hospitality services to the increasing number of tourists that want to see an authentic part of Philadelphia, where Rocky ran. Smaller accomplishments have included placements of outdoor banners, publishing of visitors' shopping maps, business-sponsored customer trash cans, and providing ongoing support for new merchants and businesses navigating red tape issues. We've accomplished a ton on a shoestring budget, practically no budget. If we could support the type of change that a bid can deliver without creating a mandatory assessment, we probably would. However, the larger issues facing our district can only be resolved through the fair and all-inclusive buy-in from every commercial investor in our community. We are grateful that the Commerce Department selected us for a grant to plan for this bid. The grant allowed us to hire consultants, create a steering committee, undertake surveys, develop a website, pay for translation of our materials, and undertake an extensive outreach campaign to explain the benefits of the bid in 5 different languages. For the last 2 years, my fellow steering committee members and I have donated more than 400 volunteer hours on planning and another 400-plus hours conducting outreach to explain the bid to all stakeholders. I'm confident that our steering committee has made every possible effort to reach all business and property owners throughout the South 9th Street area. All this work has brought us here to this hearing today. Our business district must compete in an ever-changing and more modern world. Many shoppers, residents, business owners, and others that are pulling for our business district to overcome these issues we face. We're dealing with major cleanliness and inconvenience perception. Others feel that our district is unsafe at night, and others still feel that we're falling short of our true potential. All of these problems can be addressed, but only if we come together and face them head-on through the creation of the Business Improvement District for the South 9th Street area. I strongly urge the Rules Committee to support the adoption of the South 9th Street Area Business District. Thank you very, very much.
We'll hear from all 3 before we open up to questions. Again, I know you're speaking for Ms. Gambino. You have a written testimony? Okay, I'll try that again. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and distinguished members of City Council, I'd like to thank you today for allowing us to broach this subject. I'd also like to thank Mr. Jerry Davis for taking the time to explain today how today's procedures will work. As you said, on behalf of Michelle Gambino, I am writing this letter to review the history of the United Merchants of the South 9th Street Business Association, also known as the Business Association. I will also briefly describe why the bid is so important for the community. I have been the association's business manager for the past 10 years. Over that time, the association made considerable strides toward the betterment of the shopping district. We are proud of our accomplishments, despite a very small association budget and having to work with a variety of business owners in different stages of their careers. Our association volunteer board is comprised of business owners who have served the community with professionalism and foresight to make both short and long-term plans to improve the shopping experience for our visitors, customers, and neighbors. The South 9th Street Italian Market area is a very unique shopping district. It is historically significant, yet undesignated. Our business district has an authentic feel that is critical for us to maintain. Our district includes curb market stands, outstanding stores, restaurants, professional services, churches, and a school. All of these amenities are surrounded by the top residential neighborhood in South Philadelphia. 4 years ago, our association founded a visitor center located at 919 South 9th Street to service the increasing number of visitors that come to the market to shop our stores and feel our history. We have welcomed over 50,000 visitors and shoppers from all over the world since we opened. The visitor center houses the only public restroom on the street, which is a major tourist amenity. The association also manages a small parking lot on Carpenter Street, employs six part-time employees, and produces the very popular South 9th Street Italian Market Festival, attended by 75,000 guests yearly. To reinforce the market's authentic character, we must exceed the expectation level of our well-informed consumer. Consumer expectations and needs have evolved over the past 101 years. Our competitors are now a mix of other commercial districts nearby, big box stores, as well as the internet. Consumers have many choices and the ability to act and shop in all of them. We have to make improvements in our district to remain competitive in this new retail environment. 6 years ago, the idea of forming a bid was introduced by Dewey LaRosa, a second-generation business owner in the market and association board member at the time. The association did not have the funds to support the extensive planning effort needed to explore the bid process then, but we remained highly interested in exploring it further. We saw how other commercial districts used bids to make real improvements for merchants, property owners, and customers in their corridors, and wanted that for the 9th Street market as well. 3 years ago, we were fortunate enough to receive a bid planning grant from the Department of Commerce. Over the past 3 years, we have worked with 2 consultants, hosted 9 public meetings, managed a bid planning website, did 5 mailings, held 12 advisory committee meetings, charted the results of our bid planning survey, and authored our bid plan, budget, and our bid board guidelines. This grant has made all the difference for us and is what brings us here today. The South 9th Street bid will give us the opportunity to improve the environment of our very special shopping district and neighborhood community. The bid will directly address the many complaints we hear about cleanliness and trash. Our merchants, property owners, and businesses will see an immediate improvement by implementing an aggressive cleaning plan to clean our entire district. Parking and cleanliness have always been mentioned as our top two issues. Due to the awnings, public safety is a concern at night when it is dark. The awnings are a blessing during the day, but at night there is a need for additional lighting under the awnings along with various other parts of the district. Promotional service for the entire shopping district will be increased to a year-long campaign, not just during festival time. There will be regular communication to both businesses and property owners with the implementation of a monthly newsletter. The time is now to improve the landscape of South 9th Street Shopping District. After 101 years, now is the time to form a business improvement district for the South 9th Street Business District. We hope the Rules Committee will agree and permit us to move ahead with our long-held dreams for a greatly improved shopping district. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Michelle Gambino, Business Manager, United Merchants of the South 9th Street Business Association. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Creamy?
Yes, good morning, Rules Committee. I'm Dominic Creamy, General Manager of Capuccio's Meats, located in the Italian Market on the corner of 9th and Kimball. We've been there for the past 96 years. My family owns 2 properties, along with our butcher shop, within the South 9th Street Business Area District. The South 9th Street area has seen a lot over its lifetime. The South 9th Street Market started with Anthony Palumbo's boarding house and was developed as a way of providing a place for the immigrants to shop, as well as employing these new immigrants, such as my grandparents. Along the way, many business owners took in these new immigrants to the area, giving them a place to live and work, which formed the foundation of the market, and the beginning of many families, as many newfound relationships were formed and started on 9th Street. As the market began to flourish, more and more businesses were formed. As the families grew, the new generation began to help their parents as new schools and churches sprung up to support them. In the early years, many families purchased their groceries daily as they stayed within the community in which they were most comfortable. South 9th Street has survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, automobile, shopping mall, the internet, and numerous other circumstances that have faced much of Philadelphia over the last 135 years. The keys behind our survival story have been customer service, quality, charisma, hard work, and the ability to adapt. Our survival story has been a story of customer service. As president of South 9th Street Business Association, I've worked diligently with many fellow merchants to improve the market. Despite our significant accomplishments, the South 9th Street area must continue to focus on how to adapt itself for the next 135 years. Because of this challenge, I've decided to get involved in the South 9th and Washington Avenue Business Improvement District Steering Committee. The South 9th Street area is a special place because it's more than a business district. It's an authentic community. Not only is the area special for its ability to bring people together, accept new immigrants from across the globe, and supply a diverse range of products, the area represents multiple generation of family businesses as well as many newcomers. Even with the South 9th Street area's problems, this is why the South 9th Business Association began employing the formation of the Business Improvement District. Our business association believed that by bringing people together, we can resolve the long-standing problems that have faced our district. In the fall of 2015, our steering committee conducted a survey of all business and property owners within the South 9th Street area. As expected, the survey results showed that a large majority of the respondents were bothered by the level of trash on the sidewalk and streets. They were also very frustrated by the lack of available customer parking throughout the area. What wasn't expected, the survey also revealed that many customers perceive our shopping district as unsafe during the evening hours and at night. All these issues are larger than any one business. In establishing a business improvement district, stakeholders will have a chance to address the more complex district-wide issues while discovering additional areas for improvements through the enhanced communication between stakeholders that a bid will enable us to support. For the previous reasons, and I'm sure many more as time goes on, I fully support the establishment of the South 9th Street Area Business District. It is time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Reynolds Brown, did you have a question? Yes.
When the gentleman finished.
No, all three are finished now.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Having learned and listened to a number of citizens who care about moving in this direction, there have been different triggers for different districts. And so I'm curious to know what was the tipping point, if you will, that brought you all together to now come forward to ask us to consider this bill.
Well, I think one of the biggest things, I said, we've been looking at this for a few years, we just never had the financial ability to go through with it until this present. The feedback from customers, you know, the customer base is changing, the neighborhood is changing. The value of the properties has gone up tremendously. And one of the things that I hear from the neighbors and I live in the area too, so I live across from the shop. One of the things that I hear from my neighbors is, you know, what's going on with the trash? Why can't people clean up after themselves? That's been something that's been going on for, I'm 56, I've been in the market my whole life. So 60, 70 years, it's been the same problem. You know, why don't people clean up after themselves? You know, we have the awnings, they're great, but, you know, there's no lights under the awnings. That's a problem. Graffiti.
You have what? Repeat that last statement. You have what?
We have the awnings.
Awnings.
We have the awnings, and that's a trademark of the market. But under the awnings, many businesses don't have lights.
I see.
And so that's one of the things that we want to look at with the bid, is providing lighting, more lighting on the street, and more cameras. Graffiti. At night, in the middle of the night, graffiti is rampant. And, you know, we're always calling the graffiti people to come out, and the city's graffiti people to come out and clean. And it just looks horrible. So these are the things that I think are the impetus behind getting us together and moving along with the bid.
Okay. It's rare that we hear testimony and there's 100% consensus, if you will. So, and you know, there are a few things in life that are 100%. So recognizing that, with the benefit of hindsight, what could you or would you have done differently to bring it, because it sounds like it's what, 90-95% consensus, is that fair to say? Difficult to read?
I don't think it's that high, but I do believe that everybody in the market wants to do right by the market.
Sure.
You know, I think we feel like we're at a level and at a stage in the life cycle of the market. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, the market has plenty of opportunity to die. In my 25, 26 years down there and growing up and going to school there all my life, we've seen some bad times, you know, when we had to dig up the street, put new pipes in, and it just killed business. And listen, I walk that market, and I feel like it's so special and so unique. I get to travel around the world. I get to go to places like in Seattle, the Pikes Marketplace, and I see what it could be.
Sure.
And I say, this market deserves more. It's been around longer, and we need to treat it as such. And we're at a stage where we can't really do a whole lot more for it without having the bid to help us bring it to another level. People come to Philadelphia, and I want them to feel for the market the way that I look at it and see it and feel for it. I want them to be excited and not be disappointed with what their experience is. So, you know, I truly believe that the people who have moved into the market expect something great, and I think that we owe it to them and to the legacy of the Italian market and the South 9th Street area to do something about it.
Very well. My last question to the administration. This is not first, second, third. We have 13 bids, did you say?
Yeah, he's not the administration.
Is the administration here?
Yeah, they're still... He can come back, Mr. Murphy, if you want to come back up, or...
Good morning.
Good morning.
So knowing that this new business practice is the wave of the future, does the administration have a template, a blueprint, a Cliff Note instruction book that you provide to citizens so that, taking lessons learned from the other 13, so that those who want to move in this direction minimize mistakes and errors in the whole 9 yards? Is there some kind of textbook?
We do. About 5 years ago, in partnership with Drexel, we created a guide on how to start a business improvement district in Philadelphia, and that's something that I can make available to you afterwards.
So that's not made available, when does that become available for those who want to move in this direction? Before, during, or after? Before, and it's a public document that at one point it was available on our website, and it may still be. But it's a document that we share with groups around the city, and it was the basis for how the organizing of the 9th Street bid was structured as far as surveys, outreach, forming a steering committee. Okay.
And the meetings that were involved.
Yes, my colleague has asked that we, members of this committee, have a copy of that. I'm a former teacher, and we can never assume that folks know to always go to a website to learn anything. We have to, still the old-fashioned way has value.
Right.
And so I'm going to presume that you gentlemen have that document or have seen the document, correct? Hello? Yes. Okay, all right then. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Squilla.
Thank you. And one question before you go. The bid process itself and the document that they follow, and then each bid particularly takes things and they tweak them to what their plan is. We have a couple bids in my district already, Passyunk Avenue bid, the Center City District, and each one is a little different depending on the needs of the community. So I guess that's why we could ask, Councilman Jones had several questions that he asked earlier about the specifics of the 9th Street bid, and if we could just hear those specifics on what the plan is, I think we can then move forward to the opposition and the other people in favor.
I think that was mentioned in the testimony, exactly what the kind of things they're going to do, I think.
Yeah, just real quick.
Okay.
Good morning, members of the Rules Committee. So one of the questions that I heard earlier was the number of properties involved. There are 427 real properties involved in this proposal. In addition to those properties, there are 77 curb stands that are also included within this proposal. I also recall hearing a question about the cleaning services. The minimum amount of cleaning services promised under this proposed plan is 3 days a week. That covers all areas of the proposed district that will be subject to the assessment. At this time, I can take additional technical questions.
Okay, I don't have any other.
Councilman Jones?
Yeah, real quick. Security enhancements, you mentioned these categories. How would that work?
Yeah, so in the first year of the proposed plan, there is a budget for public safety improvements, and that budget really accounts for 3 different types of services. The first is security cameras working to match existing city programs.
You can stop now. I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you all very much. Thank you it's clear you put a lot of time and effort into this.
Thank you.
Sir, I think you wanted to come up is there anyone else here other than this gentleman who wanted to testify in opposition to the bid? Anybody? Yes, no? Okay. Here, come on up.
I just want to hear one word.
Okay. Sir, why don't you identify yourself for the record?
Good morning.
And proceed. Okay.
My name's Mario Girardo. I have several stands on 9th Street and several properties. And I don't have a speech, but I just would like City Council to understand that I took it upon myself to walk up and down the street and survey the merchants on how they feel. Actually, more than half of the merchants that I talked to had no idea what was going on. And the reason they had no idea was because the mail was sent to them in such a fashion that it looked like junk mail. And you know what you do with junk mail. You throw it in the trash, you don't even open it up. In fact, I forgot to bring some of it with me. But most of the merchants that I talked to are opposed to this bid because it'll be a financial problem for them. The smaller guys on 9th Street, which there are more smaller than large, the larger businesses are for it, but the smaller merchants really can't afford it. And the people that I talk to, I think we're going to have more than one-third objection. We're going to have much more than one-third objection to it. And that's basically what I have to say. I mean, they talk about lights and cameras. I mean, if 9th Street is dangerous at night, where's our police? If you get somebody's picture on a camera, graffiti in a wall, all you have is a picture. You don't have a person, a name, or anything like that. So what purposes are cameras going to serve? Okay, the street, and talk about the streets being clean, they're cleaner now than they ever were. And I've been on 9th Street since grade school. 1956, 1957, I started working for my father, and I'm still there. And I'm 70 years old. So, as far as another problem was the language barrier. Because people didn't go to the meetings, they really should have went to the meetings, but they didn't go because they can't speak English. And when I talked to them, they didn't have a clue what was going on. They said, what bid? And I explained to them, and most of them are against it. So I think when the time comes to submit the opposals, there's going to be much more than a third. Thank you for listening.
Sir, would you like,
My name is Joe Tartaglia. I actually went around and tried to get as many people, see as many people as I could to find out, and I have a petition where I got over 50% that I have right now, but I still can't get to the other people, the Asians, the Mexicans, and these big store owners like the medical center and the places on Washington Avenue. And I noticed on the paper that some of these things on Ellsworth Street are even businesses, they're just houses, and it's on the list. And if they get counted for a yes vote because they don't send it in, I think it's very unfair. I actually think it should be that if you don't vote, that should be a no. Because there's a lot of people that don't know about it.
yeah, well, sir, let me just interrupt you there. I mean, you can't assume that somebody doesn't vote.
I'm sorry, I really can't hear too well. I didn't even know what the mother fellas were saying. My hearing aid battery went dead.
What do you say?
I can't hear you, his battery's dead.
Oh, okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay. It seems like every time they try to fix 9th Street, they put another nail in the coffin. They did something with the parking lot. They built a house there. They took away our parking. If we're trying to improve the market, please don't put more nails in the coffin. Don't make us raise our rents. I got about 9 properties, so I have to raise my rent to all my tenants. They're ready to move out now in order to cover this situation that we have. You know, and every time they try to fix it, they're like the lot, like the awnings 20 years ago. I know it's a past tense and it's over with, but when they did the awnings in the Italian market, they killed the whole north side because it took 2 years. You know, it's got nothing to do with this situation, but it's just got something to do with most of us, me, Johnny, Mario, are old timers, and we know how the market's supposed to be run. And it's, like Mario said, it's never been so cleaner. I sold shopping bags on 9th Street, I sold pretzels, I delivered newspapers, and I picked up bottles and brought it to the store to deposit. That's how long I've been on 9th Street. My family's been here since 1939. I think this is really going to put another nail in the coffin. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, please state your name.
Hi, I'm Michael Molinari. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm co-owners with my father, Gennaro Molinari, at Authorized Motor Service on South A Street. We have 2 properties, one on Alter Street and one on South A Street. The reason my father's not here, he's covering for me. We're the small guys. We're the mom and pop shops. But we're on A Street. Seems like this bill is geared to the big guys like this gentleman here said on 9th Street. But the guys aren't considering other businesses like repair shops. When they're talking about marketing, this seems like it's all for restaurants, meat markets, fish markets, and it's not looking to the repair shops. On 9th Street, like the Italian Festival, yeah, it's great when it happens, but it's an inconvenience on me. They close the streets up, and it's like a parking lot. Guys are parking in front of my shop. I have to deal with it. and it becomes a real big hassle. And also our taxes, I know the property value is going up, but I've got increased almost 400%. And I have one storage lot on Alter Street that I just park, it's just a structure, no water, no electric, I use it to park cars, because we're engine rebuilders and overhaul. We do engine overhauls. And sometimes cars stay 4 or 5 days, and as a courtesy, I put it in the shop. But guys can't park on 9th Street, they come to 8th Street. And they're like, where's the Italian market? We, gladly say, it's right down the street, because a lot of visitors and tourists come. But it greatly affects us too, with the surveillance cameras too. I have surveillance cameras all over my building. And I never had, we had incidences, but we always caught it on camera. And with the street cleaning too, they also have, I think, the youth correction guys come down, they clean up the streets. And it failed in the past too, with the permit parking. They still have the old signs for the 2-hour permit parking. And with the street cleaning, they used to send the street cleaners down the street. They would put the dirt on the street and get it on the pavement. But it's been very clean. I always cleaned our fronts, and the old timers, like these guys, they always kept the neighborhood clean. And it feels like, to me, it's geared to 9th Street only, and it's affecting other little businesses. And it becomes a real burden when the taxes are getting so high, and it's not any advantage to us. I don't know how it's going to bring new business to a repair shop. I also talked to the parts store, Christopher's Auto Parts, and the hardware store, Walensky's, and it's not drawing new business to them. They're tourists. These guys are coming, they want to eat, they want to look at the city. Brings money to the city and to the restaurant, sure, but to repair shops and to other little businesses, I don't think it's going to greatly affect it. I want to know what's the advantage to us passing this bill. And it's very broad, it's not detailed. There's not specifics in here. The meetings I had no idea about. I got this letter a week and a half ago, and I had no idea there was a meeting. I would probably object, or maybe I would have liked it. At least I would have had an idea what was specifically in the plan, because there's a lot of questions here. And I don't know if I like it or not. It's just, I'm just scared it's going to drive small businesses out. Like the old hardware stores, they're going to be gone. Even me, they're going to try to kill us and move us away. And we've been there 75 years. My dad's Italian immigrant, came home 65, and he's been there over 50 years. He bought it from the Giordano's back 30 years ago. And even with Jesse Giordano demolishing the property now, there's no attraction to go down 8th Street. It's really a little strip there, but it affects us. We're on that borderline of the 9th Street district, but I just don't know what's the advantage of this bill for us, for the shops besides repair shops, besides restaurants and the food industry.
So let me ask you a question. You said about not knowing all the specifics. I understand there were meetings held. Did you go to them?
No, I had no idea.
You were not aware of the meetings?
No, not one. This is the first packet I had a week and a half ago. I received this packet. There was a rumor going around, but there was no meetings, no flyers. And I have a big property. The dwelling's 3 houses big. I never received that mail, because believe me, I would have been more prepared, because it's very broad. I see the 5 attachments, the cleaning, the parking, the public safety. And I don't think there's still a high police presence now, especially with immigration and the ethnic scene changing throughout the years. I don't feel it's unsafe. It's just, I don't know how they're going to improve safety just to have guys walking around the street, but there's undercover cops, there's police patrolling the area. It's just getting so congested, it's getting to a point, like even the parking authority, it's a common battle with the parking authority. I have a car gets towed, I have to push a car out. Next thing I know, I turn my back, I have a parking ticket on a customer's car, and now I have to, pay for the ticket. There's just common sense and courtesy sometimes, trying to work with parking authority, but I don't know.
I'm sorry, but sir, in the middle there, did you attend any of these meetings that occurred? You did? Okay. Yes. You were notified you got the notification of those?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and let me just, before I recognize...
Also that I'm on the street where a lot of people, there's a lot of owners that live other places, and they just never got the notification. In fact, I tried to locate some of them, and I wasn't able to do it.
Okay. Now, in Mr. Murphy's testimony from the city, he said that at these meetings, materials in Vietnamese, Spanish, and Mandarin were provided. There was translation. Did you see that at the meetings?
They would have...
Maybe talk a little bit more in the microphone. Talk to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yes, I heard there was translators at the meetings,
okay.
But I didn't, the first few meetings I didn't go to. And there were the meetings I went to, there weren't any translators. They might have been there, but I didn't see them.
But the meetings that you didn't go to Were you aware, were you notified of those meetings?
The first couple meetings? Yes.
Okay, so you knew about, okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, all right, I got you.
I have a quick question.
You want to?
Just on the mail notification.
Okay, all right, Councilman Topperberger.
I have a quick question. You had come and testified before this committee and said that you received mail, but you thought it was junk mail.
Well, I didn't.
Well,
But a lot of the people I talked to
now,
thought it was junk
the
mail.
gentleman is sitting to my left, your right. Is that the piece of mail that,
The mail that I received.
and did you think that was junk mail when you got it, or?
Oh, no.
No.
And could I have a quick look at that? I certainly will return it to you.
It was an envelope like this that he received from the city of
It was
Philadelphia.
in an envelope like that.
And naturally, you would open something like this.
It looks like a telephone book.
I would think you would if it says City of Philadelphia. I mean, could be a tax reappraisal or something.
And the city could be giving you something for a change, you never know, you know?
And also, the notices were mailed out August 2nd. I don't know why you just got it a week ago.
A week and a half ago I got that.
A week and a half ago.
Yeah, sir, go ahead.
Just to show you how many people don't really want it. We had a meeting at St. Marion's Church, and there had to be 50 people there. And I stood up and I said, "Is anybody for this? Will you please stand?" Not one person stood up. And they said, "Oh, you can't do that." Why not? That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much for returning that. I'm returning that to you now.
This is what I'm talking about, as junk mail.
Again, please, in the microphone, because sometimes it's hard to hear.
They don't look official.
And it's only written in one language.
Okay, also, I just wanted to verify and let you know, especially the people in opposition, that this is still a process. The process is out there, and we follow that process along the way, and if you believe there's more than 50% opposition, then we have nothing to worry about. So, and if there isn't 50% opposition, then it moves forward. I mean, it's...
We only need
You only need one-third, right. You need one-third. And that was something that was actually done because of some of the concerns of how the bid was run. It used to be 51% in opposition,
Right,
so
yes, I know
it's a lot less right now. So you know that if you can't get a third of it, people opposed to it, then most likely the majority of the people are in favor.
When does this opposition start to take place?
If the committee approves this today, I believe the 45 days start after today.
After today.
So you have 45 days, and as Mr. Murphy described, I believe, there would have to be a letter sent to the chief clerk, of City Council,
And
which
it's
is
on that
4.
letter.
Is that Michael Decker?
That's Michael Decker, yes.
We send it to him?
Yes, correct.
It doesn't come to us or anybody, it goes
Right.
right to the chief clerk, and then we get all that information from the chief clerk on the final count after 45 days.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
And each
I'm
one, I
sorry.
just wanted to
Yes.
say one thing, that each property owner gets the right to, if they have 7 properties, you could oppose 7 times, or by assessment. If you have 2 properties, you could oppose twice. And if not, work with the steering committee. If you have questions on what it is that you want to do, or concerns that you may have, because I heard, Mike, you had some concerns and questions, try to get all those questions answered from the steering committee, and then decide how you want to vote moving forward. Okay?
Yeah, we understand the process,
Okay.
and who's ever for it, you know, it's fine.
Right.
It's a democracy, right?
Yeah,
If you're against it, you're against it. If you're for it, you're for it.
right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your testimony.
Okay, thank you all very much, thank you. Any other questions? No, okay. All right, now, we still have a number of people who wish to, that have their name here. All their testimony has been distributed to the committee before, it's been read. I'm just asking because we have 5 other bills being called, and there's been people sitting here for a long time. So, how many people still wish to say something on the record? Okay. Got 3 people? 3, 4. All right, 1, 5, okay. All right. Are all you in support? In support? Everybody that wish, okay. Have you already given your testimony in? Do I have it here?
No.
Yeah, I'm hearing yes, no. Okay, all right. All right, hold on. Ms. Marconi, why don't you just call the next three names that we have on this list and see where we go, all right? Yeah, I'm really asking, though, for those that we have testimony particularly already, please just don't sit there and read it. We have people that have been patiently waiting for a long time. I mean, I think the first three witnesses that came up in support pretty much covered the need for what they feel is the need for the bid. But, Ms. Marconi, why don't you call names?
Greg Pastore, Ron Ballman, and Greg Damas.
We got two here. I know, call one more. Oh, wait a minute. He's coming. Okay, come on. I'm trying. I know. Okay, please state your name and proceed.
My name is Greg Pastore. You do have my testimony.
Right.
So in the spirit of that, I will not read my testimony.
Thank you.
I won't even shorten my testimony. I will just say that I have been involved with the steering committee for the whole 2 years. It was a process that I independently reached out and asked, are we ever going to have a bid on 9th Street? I was told, funny you should say that. We're actually developing a steering committee. The process was very open. It was very thorough. The outreach was excellent. I can personally testify to the fact that on at least 2 occasions, I have hand-delivered things in the market. So all through the process, whenever there was any kind of necessary distribution of information, it was mailed to the best practicable mailing. And it was also door dropped. I've gone on Christian Street and 9th Street and Washington Avenue, walking into businesses and saying, hey, there's a thing about a meeting coming up, handing it to people. So the process of notification and the outreach has been as good as it reasonably could be. And I strongly, on substantive reasons, I strongly support the bid. I have one property in it, and they were very welcoming to me as someone who is a smaller landlord in the bid. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, please state your name.
My name's Ron Bauman, partner at Connie's Rick Rack, located at 1132 South 9th Street. And, again, I will respectfully refrain from reading my statement since you have it already, and I would concur with most of the other support that's here today in terms of the issues that face the market. I did not, like most people here, grow up in the Italian market. I'm a Northeast Philly guy for the most part, but I have spent the better part of 10 years in the market through my affiliation with Connie's Rick Rack. And, I've always looked at this place with awe. Growing up, Emilio mentioned it's where Rocky ran. I'm a Rocky nut just like everybody else from Philly. So this was a mystical place to me. And I always was very appreciative of the culture and even the old world aspect of the market. It was so different from any place else in the city. And I was really honored to be a part of it and more, more integrally involved over the last 3 years. When I became a partner at Connie's Rick Rack, Michelle Gambino invited me to sit on the board, which I graciously accepted. And I worked very hard over the last few years to help make the market a better place and to help get everybody to love the market as much as I did. But you can't ignore the things that are going on down there in terms of trash and security and cleanliness. And again, it's been, just like other people have said, like Dominic said, you talk to the customers every day. You're down there, you're in it, you're in the thick of it every day. You're in the trenches and you're hearing these things from your customers, the people that are coming in, and it's why, as responsible business owners, why wouldn't you want to address those issues? And the fact of the matter is that if all of these things, we could sit here and we could pretend that they're not an issue, but they are. And if they're not going to solve themselves, if they were going to solve themselves, they would have solved themselves already. So the reason that I support the bid is because I feel it's an organized, formal way to bring all of the constituents and stakeholders in the market together to make it better and address these issues that was determined by actual research, surveys. I mean, besides all the hearings that took place in terms of the formation of the bid, this all started with a survey that went out to the general population to say, how do you feel the market could be better? And again, over and over again, it was cleanliness, it was security, it was parking. So the bid was planned with those particular issues in mind. And I think that again, with the level of outreach that was done, the multiple meetings, direct mails, Councilwoman Brown, to your point, we did, recognize the constituent base of the market and say, we can't just rely on emails to go out. So, of course, direct mail pieces were used in conjunction with email, website, word of mouth, signage around the market. So, there was a coordinated effort to make sure that people knew about this. There was outreach. We had a Vietnamese, translator. We had people that, reached out to the different diverse community because we have a lot of Latino, we have a lot of Asian, and so we had people to, on board to reach out to them. So, all in all, I really feel that this is a way that's going to help bring everybody together instead of tearing it apart. I feel like this obviously has been a very divisive topic for everybody, but, the people who are going to ultimately foot the bill for this are the ones that are ultimately going to gain the most by this. So, it's really, to me, we could just keep arguing about it. You're never going to get everybody to agree, to your point. So, you really have to have a formal, organized way to bring everybody together, and this is really the only thing that's on the table that's in place that allows us to do that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Please.
Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Demas. I'm approaching this a little differently. I'm not a business owner there, but I am a longtime resident of the area, and I'm a property owner in the Italian Market, 9th Street, Washington Avenue, Passyunk Avenue district. I'm originally from Northeast Philly, like Ron, and moved into South Philly about 32 years ago into the Italian Market area, and felt like I came back to my roots. It's where my family originally came from. I saw something there, and I saw that something had a lot of potential, and I started to accumulate properties through borrowing money and finding business partners. About 20 years ago, we were trying to form some kind of a group to do something with the Italian Market in Passyunk, what is now Passyunk Square, and it sort of fell apart. And I thought if I accumulated enough properties in the same area that I would be able to actually make some kind of a change. In other places that has happened, but has not happened along the Italian Market District. So I started to divest myself of my commercial properties. I'm down to 2 out of about a dozen. So you can see over the years I've sort of become discouraged. And then finally I was called to be part of this business district. I'm involved in neighborhood associations and other things of that nature. And I jumped on an opportunity because I thought maybe this was the last opportunity for me, before I get rid of everything, to make this work. I was in on the Passyunk Avenue Business District very early on with 4 properties. I wasn't involved in getting it started, but I watched what was going on. I went to the meetings. It was very contentious, there's no doubt. And I didn't even quite understand what all of this meant, but I went along with it. And I have to tell you, it not only went so well, but I actually moved from the Bella Vista Italian Market area further south into the Passyunk Avenue area because that has improved so much. And there's so much more opportunity for me in terms of lifestyle with restaurants and places to go and, just walking out my door. It really took the place of the Italian Market area. So I'd really like to see this happen, not just as an investor with my property values growing. Hopefully my rents will increase. By the way, my rents on Passyunk Avenue are almost double what they are in the Italian Market. It's bottom line. And the difference is we have customers there on Passyunk Avenue. It's lively. And so the tenants can afford to pay stronger rents. So I understand that they're worried about their tenants paying rent, but if they had a better base of customers coming through or more customers coming through because it was improved, maybe they would collect more rent for it. That's pretty much what I'd like to see. I don't think anyone would mind paying more rent if the business was there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ames, appreciate it. Let me just say, before I recognize Councilman Heenan, first, the record reflect Councilman Johnson, member of the committee is present. But Mr. Ballman, on kind of things you said, we've had a lot of these bids come through this committee, that's how it goes. And as was said, oftentimes they are very contentious at first, and some people you're never going to, because they have different issues that they're interested in. But I don't think it's unfair to say and the Passyunk might be a good example, and Mayfair is coming along, that generally people think they work after they're going for a while. So I don't think that's an unfair statement, and I understand why people have problems. Nobody wants to pay more. We heard that through the soda tax. A lot of people didn't want to pay more, but sometimes you have to pay to get services. And again, I'm not here to sell the thing, but I think in fairness, I think on the record, these things have seemed to work as they proceed. It's not always pretty, but they seem to work.
Right, and I think, it's important to understand, the track record and the history of the people that have been in the market for 75, 80 to 100 years, and understand that maybe things didn't always work out in the past, but that's not a reason to be an obstacle to progress and recognizing the issues. And the bid's not perfect. The process may not be perfect. The bid plan in its current form may not be perfect. But I think that the stakeholders, especially the ones who are in opposition, and again, this has been divisive not only in the market, but within my own partnership. So, I'm right in the thick of it, and I'm regularly, having these conversations and trying to understand, what the sticking points are. And I think that, a lot of it has to do with, if the bid's going to go through, it's not just about not wanting to pay. That if it is going to go through, then, where's it going to go? How are these services going to be managed? And I do personally feel that managed services are the wave of the future in business.
Okay.
And, that collectively you can get more bang for your buck and more value. But the people who are in opposition really have to understand that there will be oversight and there will be the ability to fine-tune these budgets. What we're proposing now in terms of budgets or plan is just a proposed plan, and that there will be a freely elected board that they are very much have the opportunity to be a part of and provide that oversight and that insight to make sure that their interests are being protected and that nothing shady's going on. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, right? So
there'll be time for more discussion. I get that. Councilman Heenan.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. There is a lot of time for more discussion, and I know it firsthand dealing with the Commerce Department, who has done a fantastic job, with the bid up in Mayfair, and the public and the community and the businesses, all right, have been brought closer together because of it. All right, all for the common good. And, there is oversight, there are checks and balances, there are elections of the board, there are meetings, and there's, definite progress. I mean, you have the gentleman to your right talk about, moving his business from Bella Vista down, to Passyunk Avenue, having the property value double. I mean, not saying that the property value would double, all right, but there is a history. When you think of Philadelphia, you think of certain things, and the Italian market and that surrounding area is one of those must-visits in the city of Philadelphia. And the investment, and I think I've heard it, and I know this to be true on average, all right, some of the larger properties, with the more square footage, invest a little more into itself, all right, is $1 a day. $1 a day that gets reinvested right back to your own community, to your own neighborhood and your own block, all right, to providing the services, all right, that leverages, in-store programs, all right, that the Commerce Department has, safe cams, all right, marketing. Not only marketing existing businesses and vendors, all right, because you have a lot of vendors there, all right, but attracting new vendors, all right, and encouraging them to come down because this place is clean, this place is safe, and we want you here. So I think that, after there has been a long delay, I would say delay. It's been a while since a bid has actually, prior to Mayfair. I think people are starting to really, take a look at that. These are the services that we need to invest, not into city government, all right, but back into your own businesses, because that's where the money's going, and it's managed by the businesses in the community with city, with the oversights and checks and balances. So I wish you all luck here. I'm in favor of the creation of this. However, you guys work out whatever your defined service area is and how that's structured. But overall, all right, it is a definite positive for the community and the businesses.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilman. I think well said. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you all very much. Thank you for your time. Ms. Marconi, why don't you call the other names, see who's still here and wants to... Again, I think you've kind of gotten your point across, if I could say that, with all due respect.
David Brown, Lisa Budnick, Richard Lee, Pam Zenzala.
Lisa Budnick has left.
Okay, that's fine. As amended. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we got to pass the amendment, right? Yeah. All right, I would ask, is somebody else coming up?
No, oh.
Sorry. Okay. Please identify, with all due respect, please be brief, okay? Because we really have been at this a while. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Pam Zenzola, and I was invited to join the committee 2 years ago. At the time, I was the president of the Passyunk Square Civic Association, and in addition, I, for the last 5 years, have been the billing clerk for the East Passyunk Avenue Business Improvement District. So I came aboard with a really different perspective. I don't own property, I don't own a business, but I came with president of the Civic Association and everyone in our neighborhood. It's not just about 9th Street or the surrounding area. We live in South Philadelphia. We want the energy that is on East Passyunk Avenue down on 9th Street and the surrounding area. When I bring visitors, I've been very fortunate in my life. I've lived all over the world, and I bring people down. I live on Federal Street, and I bring people down from all over the world, and I bring them down visiting to my neighborhood, South Philadelphia. And when we go from East Passyunk Avenue down to the 9th Street area, they say, the energy's gone. Why is this different? How come this isn't the same? We lived in Hong Kong. The markets there didn't look like that at the end of the day. They clean them up. I want this, I believe in this, I think it can work, I know it can work. I see what happened on Passyunk Avenue. I've lived here only 8 years, but boy, is it my home, and am I enthusiastic about East Passyunk Avenue. I want it for 9th Street. I've been on this committee. The outreach has been incredible. You saw that they did in different languages. Well, we sent personal. I was out there talking. The committee was out there talking to people. We had all the various languages. People did know about this. Thank you.
Okay,
I won't waste any more of your time, but...
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it.
Real
Passyunk Avenue, I think, is a good example of what has been going on. Sir, whoever would like to go next?
Good morning. I'm David Brown from Toledo's Foods. You already have my statement, so I'm going to save all that.
Thank you.
Quickly, what I want to say is, the market, I've been there for 32 years. I started as a 16-year-old kid. The market went through some real rough times. Since we've gone back with the association, I've joined the business association, it's blossomed. We're stuck now. We can't go any further. We need to get a concerted effort from everybody on the block. A lot of the people that don't want a bid, it's strictly a financial thing. And I understand that, okay? There's nobody here millionaires. But the problem is, for the cost, less than the cost of a cup of coffee a day, you can make a severe change in the market. It's that simple, okay? We're all smart people here. Why wouldn't you better your business and your property values for $1.50 a day? It's silly not to, okay? That's just my opinion, but you already have my statement.
Okay.
I'm not going to bore you with the
I
rest
appreciate
of
that,
it.
Mr. Brown. Okay.
Thank you.
You kind of broke it down well. Go ahead.
My name is...
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. My name is Richard Lee. I was introduced to the committee about a little bit over 2 years ago. So because of my collection with the local Asian American community, I remember I was on one or two of the public hearing. There were some murmur among the mass said, "Why is the Chinese standing? Why is Chinese on the panel?" I said, "I'm actually." I did hear her say that, but I didn't. I just pretend I didn't understand what they were talking. This is a combined force. We do see the opportunity. I do have myself managing and also helping managing a few like business in South 9th Street, and I myself also a business owner near there. One is on 12th Street and one is in Chinatown, but Chinatown is a little far away. So they try to use my collection with the local Chinese community, and I want to testify there are different language used in the public hearing, and the committee tried very hard to to outreach every people from different racial background, cultural background. I myself drive to different places, try to explain the situation, and everybody likes the idea, but they don't like to pay the money. So that's basically the situation. We see the South Italian market really like, right now, the stands and everything really like a third world market. We need to make it prettier, make it more profitable and beneficial to the local community. We are the part of the Asian community supporting the bid. I'm actually representing that part. I believe there are people who don't like it. So I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Any questions? Seeing none. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else here to testify? Come on up. I didn't hear what he said. What did he say?
You want to testify?
Do you want to say something, sir?
Sure, I do.
All right, well, let them, come on. Again, I'm asking everybody, please be brief, please. Okay.
So, my name is Sheila Zagar, and I owned a property, 927 South 8th Street. And I'm very for the project, but I feel I'm a property owner, and it's my sole income is from that one property. And I'm very nervous about being pushed out because I don't know whether I can afford the extent of the percentage. They say it's not much, but for me, it's a hardship. And I'm willing to put in something, but I'm not really, I don't have a business, and I'm just concerned with whether I can afford to put that out.
So, ma'am, do you live there?
I do not live at the property.
Okay,
It's a
so
building
you rent the property out?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So all right, okay.
Because if you own...
Is it a residence or a business?
It's a residence.
Our property is a three-family...
Please state your name. State your name.
My name is Olachianos. I'm Sheila's husband.
Okay.
So we've lived in the property, and it's a three-family dwelling. We lived on...
three-family home.
In a property, rented out to 2 apartments. We had to move out because of family reasons to take care of my father, and so... But we still own the property. We plan to come back. The issue is that, and we don't plan to sell the property, so there's no benefit of our real estate taxes going up from the city, and now to be additionally charged to support the business district. We don't benefit from the business district. The trash generation, the traffic, issues, that's all generated by the businesses. We don't benefit from that. We're the ones that have a problem parking on the street. I don't think that the homeowners should be charged to develop the business.
Homeowners are not charged, only properties that aren't lived in by the homeowner.
Right.
So if you live in the property, you're not charged the
But
rent.
if you have more than one apartment in it, you do.
Right. Yes,
Right?
and yes, because that's a business. So now you're generating income from that property. So now you're part of the business. What happens is you do benefit, because as the property values go up and you get higher rents and the streets are cleaner and people are able to park and other things, that benefits you. So instead of paying, $1,500 a month in rent, then maybe you pay $2,000 a month in rent, and therefore that benefits you, and then that also helps offset the cost of your bid assessment. So therefore, you benefit from the bid being in place. That's how it is planned out to work. I'm not saying that's how it's going to work, because we don't know, but that's how it's planned.
The only benefit of my property value going up is if I turn around and sell it. So if I'm in an investment...
No, you could get more rent. If the area, we hear this a lot when we have these hearings, and it can be debated, but the argument is if the area is made nicer, that you can then generate more rent and is more desirable, it makes your property more desirable. So, you can agree or disagree with that, but I think that is the premise of the argument. Now, if you just live there yourself, you wouldn't be, a single family, but you are generating income, so maybe you're not a business like a restaurant or somebody that sells, other products, but you are a business in the sense that you are producing, or you're getting income from the property that you own, so.
Excuse me, I guess what I'm asking is that there's carte blanche, about how, like one idea fits all. And I'm saying maybe, I don't know what the businessman who was complaining, what's happened with his financial state. But I'm saying that if there's a way to consider so that, in gentrification, people say, yes, your property's going up, but then you can't afford to pay your taxes. So I'm saying, I think if there could be a consideration, I don't want to not pay. I feel like I want the community to improve, and I want to do a share, but I don't know whether I can afford that share, and then I would be taxed and would have to sell my property. Because they say if you don't pay the amount, I'm scared of that. That's all that I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just talking about my own particular situation, and I feel like I have no recourse but to either pay that money or not, and I'm nervous.
Or can I say one thing also? I mean, if you have 3 properties and you're renting them and you raise the rent $10 on each.
Not 3 properties.
You have 3 units, 3 rentals. 3 rentals and you raise $10 a month on each rental. You have your money for the taxes. So, I mean, is that something that you could do? And then, you talk to your tenants and see if that's something they'd be willing to do.
I didn't know whether that, how do you know that that's what it is according to my percentage for what my property's worth?
Times point, I just gave you an example, that's $360. Right, so maybe it's $15 a month if it's more than that. I don't know what your value of your home is. You would know, you have to do your assessment times 0.2%, find out how much that would be, and then try to justify your increase that way.
Okay.
The burden obviously would be a burden, but then again, more people would want to live there, and hopefully those people would want to stay there because they're staying there now, and they would want to stay there when the neighborhood gets better.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Sir, why don't you?
My name is Chris Fatsis. I own a couple of properties and businesses throughout the area. I have a couple concerns. I'm for the market getting stronger. I lived in the market. I went to St. Paul's. I remember Ragazzino's. I remember the history of the Italian market. I think that has such potential, such as the meatpacking district of New York City and the marketplace in Seattle. But with that, there's always concern of proper allocation of funds. And to piggyback off of what my lovely neighbor was saying is that there are certain areas of the market, there's certain areas of this bid that's going to benefit more so than residential areas. And that there's a flat tax across the board for adding to this fund. So my question is, would there be consideration of a different percentage not in a commercial corridor, since a lot of the interest was for the safety and the lighting of the streets, which is needed, definitely needed. And I'm for the Italian market getting stronger, please understand that. I just want to make sure that I understand where everything's going. So there's also the fact that as property values rise, so does the dues associated per year. However, there's a cap of $24,000 for the Italian market, the merchant fund. I think it's what the association of the merchants on the street, of their capped yearly of $24K. So if they're capped $24K and they're essentially the largest beneficiary of it, that seems a little not balanced, in my opinion. So that's one point I want to bring up to this. And also the fabric of the neighborhood is going to change. And it should change. And it should change for the better. It should change like East Passyunk, where there's lively people walking around and there's life and there's energy and there's a buzz about it and there's national acclaim. But neighboring residents have to be prepared for the addition of more liquor licenses. They have to be prepared for the addition of more late night traffic. They have to be prepared for more vehicular traffic. So I'm prepared for that, being a young person who lives in the city. I just hope that the mature demographic of that neighborhood is also prepared for that, since they're really contributing to that.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because depending on the steering committee and the mission of the bid, it could be some bids don't allow any new liquor licenses in their bids. I mean, it's not necessarily the case that you have that. Some bids even help maybe subsidize rents for people so it's more affordable. There's all different reasons why you have it, but in the end, if the area becomes better, it's up to the individual property owners how they want to adjust that.
That's for sure. That's definitely a given.
Right. But I would still work with the steering committee and send them your concerns, and if there's small amendments that could be made along the way, I mean, they're able to make them.
And I have another question. The meatpacking district that I mentioned, as well as the marketplace that Emilio mentioned, do they have bids? Were they created out of a bid? What spurred that progress and that economic development in those areas? Was it private money? Was it public money? Does anyone know that answer to that question?
Where are we talking about now?
New York?
New York?
In New
New York City and Seattle, yeah.
I believe the meatpacking district is like Soho and those other ones. They're all bids.
Yeah, right.
They're all created by, what happens is because of the money stays within your district.
Yeah.
It's not like when you pay taxes, it goes into our black hole and nobody knows where it goes. But when you have the money that goes, I shouldn't say that, I'm sorry.
Why'd you have to say that?
But when you have money going into you see a report every year, you see where the money goes, whether you pay, people who are working in the business.
I think it's a great thing. I truly think it's a great thing.
But it comes back into your neighborhood.
I understand that.
That's how the meatpacking district works. That's how Soho and some of these other neighborhoods in New York that created these bids work. But I mean, listen, you have properties in there, you have a right and you have a say. But what I would just say, continually talk to the steering committee, try to get all your answers resolved and work with them to see if things may be able to be tweaked in a certain way. And then at the end of the day, vote your conscience on what you think is the best thing for your property in that neighborhood.
And then one last question. What's the vision of it? We talk about lights, we talk about safety, we talk about the trash. What's the vision? What's the end game? Besides increased property value, because the city is increasing naturally on its own.
The steering committee would tell you that the best, to make the neighborhood safer, cleaner, better for business, make them more walkable, and I think that's the main goal for most bids. But, again, work with the steering committee on their mission and their goal, because at the end of the day, your vote, could be a vote between making the bid happen and making it fail. So,
sure.
But all this, I would recommend, meeting with the steering committee, going to as many meetings as possible and seeing if they could answer your questions. And if they don't answer your questions satisfactorily, then you vote what you believe is the best way to go.
Okay,
Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, you want to... Is there anyone else after this gentleman that wants to testify? Okay, good. Please state your name and...
My name is Walter Snyder. I live on 740 Christian Street. I just want to know, what are they trying to do with 9th Street? Like make it like an all-night thing?
Well, wait a minute.
Because the 9th Street closes like 5, 6 o'clock, you know what I mean?
What, do you live there?
I live there. I live on 1st Christian.
You just live there? You're just a resident? Or do you own
property?
property?
Me and my grandmother live in an apartment building.
It's an apartment building?
Yeah,
Okay.
we own an apartment building.
Well, as far as what they're going to do, I think as Councilman Squilla said to the other gentleman, I think you have to interact with the steering committee. And if you have ideas or you have questions, I think you need to ask them that, But I think, in all fairness, I think when they were testifying up here, they kind of said the ideas of what they were looking for. Increased safety, better lighting, more walkable community, all that kind of thing. So, more safer community. But, as far as specifics, have you gone to any of the meetings?
I didn't know about none.
You didn't know about? Okay. You live there yourself?
I lived there my whole life.
Okay, all right.
I would recommend trying to get information from the steering committee.
Why don't you talk to the gentleman here?
I got a question about the cameras and stuff, about the security. 9th Street ain't that bad. Not at all. The neighborhood ain't that bad. I live on 8th and Christian. What's the cameras going to do for me?
I mean, that's, there's a difference of opinion, what is safe to some people isn't as safe to others. I mean, that's your opinion. I have to say, cameras, when you say what it would do for you, if something happened in front of your property, I guess it could do something for you. So, I mean, that's, but again, participate with the folks and, like Councilman Squirrel said to the other gentleman, if you're not satisfied, that's certainly your opinion, and either you or whoever is the owner of the property can voice their opinion. But as far as specifics about where exactly things are going to be, that's not our decision. That's the steering committee's decision.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody, again, no one else here to testify in this bill? We are going to move on to our next bill. Ms. Marconi, please read the title of that bill, please.
Bill number 160277, an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Indiana Avenue, Palethorp Street, Cambria Street, and 2nd Street.
Thank you. Mr. Gregorski. It's still morning, barely.
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski, the Division Director of the Development Division of the Philadelphia City Planning Commission, here to testify on Bill number 160277, which was introduced in the City Council on April 7, 2016 by Councilmember Sanchez. Bill number 160277 amends the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within the area bounded by Indiana, Palethorp, Cambria, and 2nd Street. The property is currently zoned I-2 in medium industrial and will become CMX3, commercial mixed use, to encourage a development for the Hispanic Association of Contractors and Enterprises, HACE. This project, the Casa Indiana, will provide housing to people 62 years of age and over who are currently independent. This four-story, 46,640 square foot building will include 50 units, with 12 units for disabled or impaired individuals. The project will also include a garden and 9 parking spaces. Philadelphia City Planning Commission considered Bill number 160277 at its meeting of April 19, 2016, and recommended approval with the amendment for a sunset provision that will expire on January 1st, 2020. And I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Councilwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. Just for the record, Maria Gonzalez, who was here for like the last couple of hours, has written testimony that will be submitted as part of the record. I want to thank the Planning Commission for working with us on this.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from Ms. Group? No, no, okay. All right, seeing none. Thank you, sir. Anyone else here to testify on Bill number 160277? Seeing none, Ms. Marconi, our next bill, please.
Bill number 160465, an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by North Front Street, West Berks Street, North 3rd Street, and West Oxford Street.
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski, Division Director of the Development Division at the Philadelphia City Planning Commission, here to testify on Bill number 160465, which was introduced in the City Council on May 12, 2016 by Councilmember Sanchez. Bill number 160465 amends the Philadelphia zoning maps by remapping an area bounded by North Front Street, West Berks Street, North 3rd Street, and West Oxford Street. Both this bill and Bill number 160466 are intended to correct zoning and advance the goals of the Lower North District Plan, a part of the city's comprehensive plan. The remapping promotes housing development and supports commercial uses. It maintains important transportation links, buffers adjacent residential uses, and improves pedestrian crossings along east-west lines of travel. It also supports the transition away from industrial uses, except for strategic industrial blocks. It zones for multifamily developments along the edges of significant parks, recreation centers, and plazas, and maintains and increases the current employment base within the empowerment zone. City Planning Commission staff attended 2 meetings hosted by South Kensington Community Partners and 2 meetings where business owners organized by the Philadelphia Commerce Department. Staff solicited and vetted feedback from Old Kensington Neighborhood Association, the Association of Puerto Ricans on the March, City Council, and the Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, Philadelphia Commerce Department, and also specific landowners and business owners. While this bill, as well as Bill number 160466, are generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, staff emphasizes that it is the product of significant compromises brokered by Commission staff between civic associations, city agencies, and business owners. Specifically, the future of industrial blocks within the empowerment zone, which encompasses this neighborhood, Norris Square and West Kensington, came into contention. According to a Commerce Department survey conducted in 2015, at least 1,100 jobs exist within the empowerment zone, 60% of those south of Berks Street. The largest industrial employers are Honor Foods at 1801 North 5th Street with 120 employees, and General Econopack at 1729 North 6th Street with 92 employees. The Commission staff believes that some level of industrial zoning must be maintained to accommodate light industrial operations. Philadelphia City Planning Commission considered Bill number 160465 at its meeting of June 14, 2016, and recommended it for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorski. Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes, I just wanted to put for the record, again, I wanted to thank the Planning Commission who's worked with us. As many of you know, the American Street Industrial Commercial Corridor is one where the city has made significant investment about protecting the industrial jobs that exist in the area. And while we're experiencing some underutilization, and with the help of the Planning Commission are going to introduce some commercial utilizations, I think this is our attempt at balancing all of the development interests that exist in the area. And while the lower part of American Street, President Clark has allowed some of the residential development that the jobs in this particular zone be protected, and therefore we wanted to be very deliberate in protecting the industrial and the high-end industrial utilizations, at the same time allowing for intellectual intellectual industrial uses and some commercial utilization, all with the goal of creating jobs. And so I really want to thank the Planning Commission for their patience as we work through our neighbors. Clearly, these bills do not make everybody happy, which means they must be good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions on this bill? Anyone else here to testify on Bill 160465? Seeing none. Ms. Marconi, our next bill, please.
Bill number 160466, an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing zoning designations of certain areas of land located within area bound by North 3rd Street, West Berks Street, North 6th Street, West Master Street, American Street, and Oxford Street.
Good morning, I'm Marty Gregorski, the Division Director of the Development Division at the Philadelphia City Planning Commission, here to testify on Bill number 160466, which was introduced in the City Council on May 12, 2016 by Councilmember Sanchez. Bill number 160466 amends the Philadelphia zoning maps by remapping an area bounded by North 3rd Street, West Berks Street, North 6th Street, West Master Street, American Street, and West Oxford Street. The body of this testimony is virtually identical to which I just read for 160465. So to cut to the chase, the Philadelphia City Planning Commission considered Bill number 160466 at its meeting of June 14, 2016, and recommended it for approval as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Gregorski on this bill? Seeing none, anyone else here to testify on Bill 160466? Seeing none, Ms. Marconi, our next bill.
Bill number 160681, an ordinance to amend the Philadelphia zoning maps by changing the zoning designations of certain areas of land located within an area bounded by Front Street, York Street, Howard Street, and Berks Street.
Good morning, Councilman Greenlee, members of the Rules Committee. I'm Marty Gregorski, the Division Director of the Development Division at the Philadelphia City Planning Commission, here to testify on Bill number 160681, which was introduced in the City Council on June 16, 2016 by Councilmember Sanchez. Bill number 160681 amends the Philadelphia zoning maps by remapping an area bounded by North Front Street, West Berks Street, North Howard Street, and York Street, and Norris Square in West Kensington. This bill is intended to advance the goals of the Lower North District Plan, a part of the city's comprehensive plan. The remapping encourages development of currently vacant land and buildings and matches that of a similar zoning effort underway across Front Street in East Kensington. The Philadelphia City Planning Commission considered Bill number 160681 at its meeting of July 19, 2016, and recommended it for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilwoman Sanchez first.
Yes, thank you. Here again, the Planning Commission has been working with us. This is off of a transit-oriented stop, which is the York Dolphin Station. As many of my colleagues know, I've been pushing the B Corp legislation, and this is one of the corridors where I want to entice potential B corporations to come to. This map allows some of the repurposing and reuses of large buildings within this commercial corridor to maintain the commercial utilizations on the first floor, but allow folks to invest in some of the upper floors. Again, I want to thank the Planning Commission for working with me with the goal, again, of creating jobs, generating good traffic among a corridor that's extremely diverse and has a lot of potential. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Toppenberger?
Yes, I just have a statement on this bill, and I really want to take this moment to thank Councilwoman Sanchez for really what appears to be amazing progress in developing Front Street in Kensington. There was a news article written in the Philadelphia Inquirer on this, and this work doesn't come easy. I want to thank her for her leadership in this area, and this really seems like there seems to be a new business opening there each month. I mean, that's a phenomenal record, and I just want the record to reflect that and my enthusiastic support for this bill.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, anyone else here to testify on Bill 160681? Seeing none, and just for the record, the last three bills will have amendments that will be offered at the committee meeting. Ms. Marconi, our last bill today.
Bill number 160612, an ordinance establishing a neighborhood improvement district consisting of a parcel located at the northeast corner of 15th Street and Chestnut Street, commonly known as 1441 Chestnut Street, to be known as the Headquarter Hotel Neighborhood Improvement District, designating Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development to serve as Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association for the district, approving a plan for the district, including a list of proposed improvements and their estimated costs, providing for special financing assessments to be levied on property owners within the district to secure the repayment of tax increment financing indebtedness, authorizing the Director of Commerce on behalf of the city to execute an agreement with the Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association for the district, and authorizing the Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association to assess property owners within the district, and under certain terms and conditions, collect or cause to be collected a special financing assessment to be used in accordance with the approved plan and approved tax increment financing plan, all in accordance with the provisions of the Community Economic Improvement Act.
Mr. Monlock, go ahead, please. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Chairman and members of the Committee on Rules, my name is John Munlock. I'm the Deputy Director of Real Estate Development in the City's Office of Planning and Development. I'm here to testify in favor of Bill 160612, establishing the Headquarter Hotel Neighborhood Improvement District. The intent of this legislation is to create a neighborhood improvement district that overlaps with the TIF district created for this hotel project through Bill 130686, passed by City Council and signed by the Mayor on December 18th, 2013. I just want to correct my submitted testimony as 2003. It was actually 2013. The NID will exist for approximately 20 years to coincide with the time and location of the TIF. The NID is comprised of a single parcel owned by Cheslin Development LP, the developer of a 780,000 square foot, 755-room hotel intended to support the newly expanded Pennsylvania Convention Center. In addition to increasing the economic activity at this important center city location, the Headquarter Hotel will create a significant number of temporary and permanent jobs. Construction of this hotel will support 1,800 jobs, representing over $95 million in wages during the three-year construction period. Once completed, the hotel will support 450 permanent jobs and $375 million in wages over the next 20 years. The developer is also partnering with the city's workforce development agency, Philadelphia Works, to maximize the number of positions filled by Philadelphia residents seeking jobs and to provide opportunities for internships for students of the Philadelphia public school system. The NID will be governed by the Philadelphia Authority for Industrial Development, which will act as the Neighborhood Improvement District Management Association, also known as the NIDMA, under the Community and Economic Improvement Act. The NIDMA will have the power to make assessments for improvements to the district, for debt incurred in connection with improvements, and for administrative costs related to managing the NID. It will also allow the NIDMA to make assessments and pledge the assessments and any liens associated with those assessments to a bank as security for any shortfall of actual incremental taxes collected from amounts needed to pay the debt service on the TIF loan. The Office of Planning and Development is interested in providing this hotel project with a tool to convert incremental tax shortfalls into liens in order to help entice third-party lenders to invest in the TIF. By layering a NID on top of a TIF district, Cheslin Development limited partnership will be able to secure any shortfall between the projected incremental taxes and the actual incremental taxes with a high priority lien, which can be a requirement of TIF lenders for loans of this size and term. The creation of this NID does not provide additional financial assistance from the city into this project. But we see the NID as a logical and important extension of the TIF that has already been created, and it may increase the ability of Cheslin Development LP to monetize its TIF. A more successful placement of TIF with a third-party investor will only help to ensure the success of the 755-room headquarter hotel. For these reasons, we support Bill 160612, and there's also an amendment that should have been circulated that clarifies that these liens would not exceed any city municipal lien, and we support that amendment.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Monlock? Seeing none. Anyone else here to testify on bill number 160612? Seeing none, thank you. Thank you. Sorry you had to wait that long. We
That's
didn't
okay.
think that was, the first one was going to, it's Councilman Squill's fault.
Overtime, we wanted to give you overtime.
That concludes the hearing of the Rules Committee. We will now go into our public meeting. We'll do all the amendments first. And the chair recognizes Councilman Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'd like to move the adoptions of the amendment of Bill number 160686, the amendment to Bill number 160465, also the amendment of Bill number 160466, the amendment of Bill number 160681, and the amendment of 160612.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded on the adoption of the amendments. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, and all the amendments are adopted. Councilman Squilla? These two with no suspension.
I'd like to move the bills as amended of 160686 and bill number 160612 as amended with no suspension. Reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, bill numbers 160686 as amended and 160612 as amended are reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation. Councilman Squilla.
I'd like to make a motion to
and that one.
all bills number 160277, bill number 160465 as amended, 160466 as amended, 160681 as amended, reported out of committee with a favorable recommendation. The suspension of the rules will be read at the first council session.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, bill numbers 160277, 160465 as amended, 160466 as amended, and 160681 is amended, reported out as committee with favorable recommendation with a rule suspension to allow for reading at our next session of council. This concludes the business today of the Rules Committee. Thank you all very much for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.